Viewers, our top story on India Global today in what comes as yet another escalation in the already simmering West Asia crisis. Iran's top Shiite cleric has issued a fatwa. Now, what is that? It's a religious decree against US President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that they are enemies of God, and the decrees are from the Grand Ayatollah, who's called on Muslims across the world to now target these two leaders, unite and bring down the American and Israeli leadership for threatening the Islamic Republic. Now, meanwhile, this comes at a time when there are questions that are being raised about whether or not the Iranian nuclear program has been set back or not. The watchdog says, the United Nations nuclear watchdog says that Iran could produce enriched uranium within months, contradicting what Donald Trump's assertion was that Tehran's nuclear program has been obliterated. There are intel reports as well suggesting that damage has been done, but not enough to set the program back by a decade. Now, these remarks echoed an earlier intel assessment, and what this means is that the Middle East could be set for yet another turmoil. Parallelly, there are political climate and political atmosphere in Iran that suggests willingness to escalate this possible confrontation, and parallelly on the other end you have actual ground situation indicating that the Iranian nuclear program, quote unquote, has not been obliterated. We decode this, but first up, as always, we get you the big questions, viewers. The big questions that are staring us at this entire crisis. First up, is there yet another possibility of an escalation in the region in the backdrop of what I said, the political crisis in Iran primed for a potential conflict, and on-ground situation being that the Iranian nuclear program hasn't been obliterated. Second, will the US strike Iran again? The objective was Iranian nuclear program. If it hasn't been completely dismantled, will that make a case for another strike? Third question, will this lead to more religious violence? Because that's what the cleric's entire fatwa is all about. And lastly, will this force the Arab nations to pick a side in this entire issue? Because remember, they are siding with Iran on the ideological aspect, but they're also deep with America in terms of security and strategic alliance. Let's get in Shubhda Chaudhary for more on this. She's a founder of the Middle East Insight platform, Middle East Analyst. She is, and Shubhda, you know, the questions that come to mind is first and foremost, is the possibility of another conflict, another confrontation in the Middle East looking very real in the backdrop of two of the simultaneous developments we pointed out?
First of all, thank you for calling me. If you look into the entire pattern of what is happening in Middle East since October 7, 2023, though that's not the main point of starting of all of this, but none of the ceasefires have actually been permanent. If you talk about Israel-Hamas ceasefire, or you talk about Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire, they have not been permanent. The military-industrial complex does not want any ceasefire to be permanent. Second, as far as the 12-day war was considered, there have been 6 top generals of IDF who have been killed, 32 Mossad officers, 78 Shin Bet, the domestic intelligence agency agents, 27 Navy officers, 198 Air Force officers, 462 soldiers, 423 civilians. The damage on the Iron Dome is 11 billion. Now, coming to the first question, fatwa is not legally binding outside of the jurisdiction of Iran. At the same
this
time,
is not about a fatwa. No, Shubhda, this is not about the fatwa. You know, frankly, the Iranian cleric is addressing his domestic constituency. The question is not about the fatwa. The question is about the fact that is the region primed for another conflict, because A, the Iranian program still many feel have survived, and will this now act as a catalyst to double down on it, probably get to that nuclear bomb sooner than ideally they would have wanted it?
The first point is that the US attack that took place on 21st, 22nd of June, that attacked Fordo, Isfahan, Natanz, the damage of that and the extent of it is classified. Second, before the Israeli strike, Iran had stated to International Atomic Energy Agency that it had almost starting a new enrichment facility, which was not Isfahan, Fordo, or Natanz. Before that, Israel striked. Third, right now no one knows where is 400 kgs of highly enriched 60% uranium right now in Iran. The
Okay.
point here is that will it escalate? Obviously it will, because both Israel and Iran have to answer about their own political legitimacy to their domestic audiences.
Now,
That's the first reason. The second reason is that this has now, the IAEA, for example, even though Grossi is a very distinguished diplomat, but the Iranian television channel, which is state-owned, has reported that from 2014 to 2016, he was in regular contact with Mirav Zafari Odez, who was Israel's IAEA representative. Grossi has not talked about why JCPOA, after Trump pulling out of it, why Iran did not pull out of it, why JCPOA is not functional.
okay.
Grossi does not talk about why the Dimona facility of Israel, which has plutonium enrichment
Okay.
going on, which is far more dangerous and toxic than uranium enrichment,
Okay.
he has not condemned it. Grossi has not even asked about the regular or given any kind of answer about what kind of checks does US or European Union
Okay.
countries with nuclear arsenal have.
Shubhda, I'm running
there
out of
is an
time,
asymmetry.
but a quick 30 seconds, which is the reason why I was talking about fatwa and I still feel it's important, is because, you know, this is also a call for religious violence. That is what I want to ask from you very quickly. Do you think that's what it's going to lead to? There was a Salman Rushdie fatwa as well, and 30 years later, you did see that attack happening. So here as well, do you think it's likely to have that impact, whether it is Americans, whether it's Jews in third countries around the world?
Yes, it will. Non-state actors, it's going to cause massive religious hatred and violence, even though it's not legally binding. But at the same time, do remember that the kind of, the point of starting off the acrimony against the IDF or Israeli state or Netanyahu is not just Iran. All over the world, it's Gaza. So that would be, Netanyahu
Okay.
has made Jews a lot more unsafer. And there were 2 diplomats who were assassinated in broad daylight just a couple of weeks back.
Yes.
There was the case of Daniel Pearl. No one was able to save him. So the hatred against Jews, or the violence or the rise of anti-Semitism against Jews who have nothing to do with it, will rise.
Okay.
And all the political actors are going to use this kind of rhetoric for their own advantage.
All right. Okay. I'll leave it there, Shubhda, because this conversation is more nuanced. There are several aspects to it as well. The October 7th attack, Hamas. Hopefully, we'll connect again and we'll spend more time in deliberating on all those nuances as well. But thanks so much for speaking to me. And viewers, bottom line, as far as this situation in the Middle East is concerned, is that it remains a matter of concern. American strikes on Iranian nuclear sites may have had some impact, may have set the program back, but by how much? Well, no one knows, not even the American intel, who feel that maybe not enough was done. Now, if the program has survived, it will mean a possibility of an acceleration of the Iranian program to build a nuclear bomb in record time. And Iran's ties with its regional allies will also change. They will have to pick a side, which means either they want to be on the Iranian side or the American security and strategic arc that they are a part of, they've paid for. And that is going to further make the region more unstable with more hostilities.